Good morning, TikTok. I'm scared. Ever since I spoke out about United Health Group, Amedisys, and Optum, things have started happening. I'm scared to even say what those things are. But what I can say is I am not suicidal. I am not homicidal. I love my kids more than anything. And right now I'm just trying to make sure that we're safe. TikTok, I need eyes on this, please.
Some weird things have been happening, and I have been advised to share it here to protect not only myself but my family. I've been getting texts from unknown numbers, calls from unknown numbers where they call, don't say anything, and hang up. Numbers that I do not have saved. And the text messages are random, vague things, nothing threatening. The calls are nothing threatening. It's just very weird and definitely intentional. And it's not from one number, it's different numbers, multiple numbers. But there's more. I live on a cul-de-sac. There is no reason for anyone to be driving down my street unless you live here. And yet, over the past several days, random cars have been creeping by slowly and repeatedly. It's happening so often that my neighbors have started to ask questions. And they now have begun to keep a lookout for me as well and my family. So let me be clear. I believe this is an intimidation tactic. My posts have reached tens of thousands of people. I filed formal complaints with the EEOC and SEC. I've exposed retaliation, and I've exposed the leak inside of the C-suite. I am a federal whistleblower. And just so this is publicly documented, I am dealing with work-related stress. I have been diagnosed with anxiety and depression tied directly to the retaliation I have endured. But I also want to be clear. I am not suicidal. I do not want to harm myself. I love my family. My marriage is happy. My children are happy. I am grounded in purpose, and I am documenting everything. To the media, please keep your eye on this. If anything happens to me or my family, you now know we were followed, contacted, and watched. And still, I'm not backing down. Tag the media. Thank you. All right, TikTok. So I've had some people asking for the full story since there's so many videos. So here is the full story. My name is Sheqoia, and I'm here to share my personal experience working at Amedisys. Everything I'm about to share is based on real documents, communications, and my lived experience. This is for awareness, not revenge, and it deserves to be heard. So how it started. I first joined Amedisys as an intake coordinator, and things were going good. My manager was Kristen Bangs. I worked remote. I worked the night shift. She worked the day shift. Please keep that in mind. That's important later. I had my first performance review with her. She said I was sharp, I was reliable, I was handling my 3 counties with ease, nothing but glowing reviews. But it wasn't until I started speaking up that things began to change. So we used different systems like, I don't know if I can disclose that, but I'll say System A, System B, and System C. But System A and System B and System C were all required to do your job. Each one would go down at different times. So it wasn't, these weren't isolated issues. They were widespread, well-known, and constant. Yet we were still being held to the full productivity goals. So I brought this up, and I guess I wasn't supposed to. So that's when the retaliation started. Kristen began micromanaging me. She started sending me directives late at night, outside of her work hours, even though she worked day shift. It began to feel like surveillance. I was being monitored constantly. I would be in one region. She would tell me to get out of that region and go to a different region. One time she would make odd demands asking me to confirm in writing that I understood what is expected of me. Not once, not twice, several times. Please respond, say that you understand what is expected of you in your role. That was her messages to me. So keep in mind, we're remote. I've never met her before. I was meeting my goals when I could, when there weren't system issues. So one time she messaged me, and so previously she messaged and she'll say, respond to this message with a thumbs up so I know you read it. So this was another day like no other. She sends a message. I respond with a thumbs up like I've always done. Her response to me, and I have screenshots, for future reference, next time I expect a written response from you. So I kept it professional and I replied, I understand. I asked for respectful communication, and I asked her to be mindful of our time because I can't always answer quickly. Her response was, I'll get with you later to discuss this. Never got with me later. 2 days later, I got put on a PIP. At this point, I reached out to HR and I said, this PIP is retaliatory. I sent over 30 emails to all of the VPs. But first, let's go back. So initially, I submitted a complaint to HR. HR was supposed to investigate it. She investigated and said that she found nothing. Normally, when there's a retaliation complaint, you're supposed to separate the two people while the investigation is conducted. We were never separated. She continued to be my manager, and she was aware that I had complained, and she began to really micromanage me. It has been known that I go pick up my schools. I take lunch, and that's the time I go and pick up my kids from school. She began to move meetings to that time. And then even in the meetings, go as far as to, I'm going to make this short because, Sheqoia, I know that you have to go pick up your kids from school. And then proceed to keep that meeting for over 45 minutes to try to be petty. And, it's childish. So I began to get stressed out because I'm reaching out to HR. My manager's micromanaging me. At this point, I didn't know what to do. So I began messaging all of the VPs. I'm messaging them. My hair is falling out. My skin is breaking out. I'm not sleeping. Please step in, someone. I was loud about it. I sent so many emails. They can never say they didn't know because I sent email after email after email. I asked them for help, and all I got was silence. They never responded. So, they investigated. Sorry, I'm just looking at my thing. All right. So, HR investigated. They said that there was no retaliation. They didn't offer to transfer me, to transfer her, nothing. They just said, that's it. But I kept pushing. No, I am being retaliated against. She is actively retaliating against me. So then eventually they brought in outside counsel. It wasn't until I went public. And they brought in outside counsel to investigate. However, most people don't know that when they bring in outside counsel, they're there to protect the company, not you. I was aware of that. They didn't know that I was aware of that. So outside counsel comes in. She takes 2 months. They put me on paid leave. 2 months to investigate. She asked for documentation. She asked for proof. I said, I'm not going to give you screenshots, but what I will do is I can give you the exact timestamps and the systems where you can locate it. So, for example, most of the stuff happened in Microsoft Teams. So I would say, go on Microsoft Teams on this date, in this chat, at this time. There is the conversation that I'm referring to. I gave them the roadmap. Still, they found no retaliation. Kristen even removed me from a Teams group chat, then recreated the same exact one with the exact same name. Now, why would a manager do that, except unless they were trying to manipulate the digital record? When I finally requested my personnel file because shady things were starting to happen, they went even more petty. They waited until the last possible legal day, which was day 30, and they sent it after hours. And even then, it was doctored. The system shows that there were things like in my PIP that I was taking unauthorized overtime because I would clock in 1 minute early. There was in my PIP also saying that I would that I would log on to my remote computer 2 hours early with unauthorized permission. However, I was online, not clocking in, but I was online on my laptop because I was messaging HR about being retaliated against. So my manager, Kristen, was accessing my email, reading my emails that I was sending to HR, and then using that as in her PIP, which is crazy. So I started emailing HR from my personal email, and I even emailed HR saying she's accessing my documents, my personal, like, if I'm talking to HR, that should be between me and HR, right? It shouldn't be that she has access to those things. And then if I'm bringing it up to you that she has that access, shouldn't you investigate or step in? No one did anything. They just continue to meet with silence. So in my personnel file, they also included an email from my coworker, a coworker that I've never met. Keep in mind, I work remote, saying that I was not a team player. We don't interact. When I come into work, I do my job. I handle my business. I clock out. Okay, I don't have time for all the other stuff. The email wasn't organic. It was prompted. It was a setup. Why would a coworker I never met send out an email to the manager saying, so about Sheqoia, she is not a team player. My manager was trying to cover her tracks, but in doing so, she exposed herself in the same thing. So they put me on a paid leave of absence while they're investigating. The paid leave is going on for 60 days. For 60 days, I'm sending emails asking for updates, anything. No response. Then finally, on the final day of Q2, they fired me. No severance, no offboarding, nothing. Why? Because by firing me on June 30th, they avoided having to report it on their Q2 SEC filings. And when those SEC filings came out, they didn't mention anything. They knew about my EEOC filings. They knew about the retaliation. They knew about all of it. They tried to cover it up. So I went public. And then guess what happened when I went public? Employees started DMing me. They started sharing their own stories about being micromanaged, bullied, gaslit, and discarded. And that's when it became just bigger than me. It became a movement. Employees from Amedisys, Optum, and United Health Group started coming forward. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not crazy. I'm not alone. Everybody's going through this. Amedisys has gone as far as blocking me on Facebook. Tom Whitworth, their VP of Legal, has blocked me after I called him out. Patrick Conway, the president of Optum, I messaged him on LinkedIn. He read the message and left me on red. And so that's why I had to file my SEC whistleblower complaint, because they're trying to do this $3.3 billion merger, but the very employees that are speaking out against, you're not responding to. So I tried everything. I stayed professional. I reported internally. I have a degree in HR, so I know the correct steps that I needed to follow, and I followed every single one. I even would reference their own policies. And alrighty, so here is part 2. So we left off before, but there was a few details that I had forgot to show you how deep this goes. So when Amedisys notified me on June 30th that July 2nd would be my last day, I thought that was strange. So I started looking into it. July 2nd is the last day of quarter 2, right before they have to file anything with the SEC. So then they turn around and they paid out all of my final wages on July 3rd, and that was my last day. But this is where it starts to get weird. 3 weeks later, I suddenly received a direct deposit from Amedisys. No explanation, no breakdown, just a deposit into my checking and my savings account. And here's the thing. When a company terminates you, they deactivate your direct deposit, right? If they owe you anything, then they will have to send a paper check. But Amedisys, they reactivated my direct deposit. Why? Were they trying to merge the lines? Were they trying to manipulate records? Were they changing dates? Then I noticed something else. Remember I told you about how the systems at Amedisys are always down? System A, System B, System C? Mysteriously, I'm starting to get views from IT consultants from that very company that Amedisys uses. And they're not viewing my page once, twice. They're like multiple times. How would they know my name unless someone at Amedisys sent them to, right? Not even just that. I can see that the VPs of Amedisys, Optum, and United Health Group, they're viewing my LinkedIn. I have premium. I can see who views my profile. They're viewing my profile. So if there's nothing to hide, why are you watching me so closely? So I reached out to United Health Group and Optum because they are about to merge with Amedisys. And one of their executives, Patrick Conway, he read my message and he chose to ignore it. No one ever contacted me to explain the extra pay. No one ever properly offboarded me. There was no equipment return process, no breakdown of benefits, and no termination appeal, even though that's in their employee handbook. There was nothing, just one cold email, and that was it. So make it make sense. The last thing, Amedisys has an arbitration agreement and a termination appeal process, both in their handbook. Yet they provided neither to me. No disclosure, no access, just retaliation. This is the same company that claims to have a strict anti-retaliation policy. But when I spoke up and when others spoke up, silence. Also, they never had me sign an NDA, so I'm going to be as loud as I can. I have nothing to hide. I followed full protocol. I reported the issues the proper way. I emailed, I escalated, I begged for help. I sent over 30 emails to multiple VPs. Not one of them responded. Not one. Think about that. Not one. So, I later found out that I'm not alone, and this is bigger than me. So employees at Optum, United Health Group, and even Amedisys, they've all reported experiencing similar retaliation. Same story. They speak up, they get written up, they get fired. The only difference is that most of them are too afraid to speak up because they still need their jobs. I'm going to be a voice for those who can't speak. And let's not forget, they never resolved the system issues that impacted performance in the first place. Yet the thing that they fired me for, what they put on my termination paperwork says performance. So what was it really about? TikTok, you tell me. Was I in the wrong? Was Amedisys in the wrong? But I think we all know what's going on here. Now that you guys have heard my story, I want you to hear from some of the people who can't speak out because they're scared, silenced, or simply because they're no longer here. These are real messages I've received from people inside United Health Group, Amedisys, and Optum. Listen closely to what's really happening behind the scenes. Testimonial 1. After Medicare pulled their contract, they started writing us up just to weed us out. My manager called me a slur. HR didn't care. I resigned after the stress wrecked my health. Testimonial number 2. I dislocated my shoulder on the job. After surgery, they refused to accommodate restrictions or offer light duty. I only found out my job was posted when someone saw it online. My supervisor never said a word. Testimonial 3, and this one. They knowingly covered up errors that delayed patient care, and one of those patients died. We were told not to document it in writing. They cared more about protecting leadership than saving lives. If this is what they do in the dark, imagine what hasn't been exposed yet. And trust me, it's all coming out. Tag the media. There's more. Hi, TikTok. I didn't think I'd have to be making this video, but okay. My name is Sheqoia. I'm a mom of 2, and I've been fighting this battle for this entire year. I used to work for Amedisys Home Health, a home health and hospice company now trying to merge with United Health Group. For those who don't know, home health means nurses and therapists who come to your home to help you recover from surgeries and things like that. And hospice is end of life care. So it's like helping people pass away with dignity and respect. At Amedisys, we experience system issues daily. Our systems would be down every single day. But they still expected us to meet quotas. That meant delays in patient care. We're talking about vulnerable people, people recovering from surgery, people dying. When I spoke up, I was micromanaged, targeted, and eventually terminated. I reached out to every VP. I've been very public on my LinkedIn, tagging them. I've seen them view my profile, but they continue to ignore me. They have modified my pay stub. I have filed with the EEOC and SEC, but still silence. So now I'm asking TikTok to help me. This isn't just about me. It's about accountability and the people that they hurt. Please share this video. Please make Amedisys, Optum, and United Health Group answer. Thank you. Hello again. I wanted to create a follow-up video because I had some questions. This is not about me, like I said before. This is about Amedisys and their $3.3 billion merger with United Health Group and the patients that they serve. I worked as an intake coordinator. I worked behind the scenes and I loved helping people get hospice and home health care. But we are dealing with daily system issues. Leadership would send out emails acknowledging it, saying, "We apologize for the downtime," but at the same time, they were on us to meet quotas like nothing was wrong. If the systems aren't working, patients aren't getting their care on time, yet the blame was placed on us. I spoke up about it. I filed an EEOC retaliation complaint in March 2025. I emailed all the VPs of Amedisys that I filed the retaliation complaint. I was placed on paid leave May 2nd, terminated July 3rd. However, in June of 2025, Amedisys filed their SEC report. And the SEC report is just basically where they have to report what's going on. And there was no mention of my active retaliation or wrongful termination claim. So, journalists, watchdogs, you don't have to take my word for it. Please check the filings. Check the SEC filings and look at what's missing. Medicare and Medicaid patients are the most vulnerable. And if they're hiding the truth now, what happens after the merger? Please share this video. Thank you. Today we're dropping names. This is about Amedisys, United Health Group, and Optum. These are some of the names of the VPs that I reached out to who left me unanswered. Patrick Conway, Tom Whitworth, Denise Bonnert, Scott Ginn. These are all C-suite executives at Amedisys. I have sent over 30 emails reporting retaliation and violations in March 2025. In March 2025, I also filed an EEOC retaliation complaint. By June 2025, they filed their SEC report and they left all of this out. They ignore their employees, but they cannot ignore the public. TikTok. Can you please flood Amedisys, United Health Group, and Optum's social media pages and their LinkedIn profiles of the names I just listed? Ask them, why did you stay silent? What else are you hiding? Please keep it respectful. Please keep it public. They can no longer look away. Thank you. Amedisys, United Health Group, and Optum. This isn't just my story. Employees inside these three companies are telling me the same thing. They're experiencing retaliation, discrimination, and ADA violations. And it's all happening while they push a $3.3 billion merger. Regulators, media, shareholders, this is your warning. It's about to blow wide open. They thought firing me would keep me silent. Instead, I documented everything. Emails, recordings, names. Now, I'm bringing it to the public for the ones who can't. I'll be sharing not only my story, but the stories that have been sent to me. United Health Group, Amedisys, Optum. Follow along. Hi, everyone. I want to take a moment to say thank you to every person who has shared their story, comment, DM me. I have read every single message. However, there are over 100,000, so I can't reply to all of them. But the general consensus is this is no longer just my story. This is our story. Healthcare workers do not deserve retaliation. We do not deserve to be silenced, and we will no longer accept it. Amedisys, United Health Group, Optum, you have had every chance to do the right thing. Let's spread this news story. Tag every major news outlet, and let's get the justice we deserve. TikTok, do your thing. Tag the media. We're exposing them. United Health Group, why does it seem that retaliation is embedded in your corporate culture from the top down? Optum, why is it that employees are reporting ADA accommodations are being denied? Amedisys, why do you have multiple EEOC filings and none of them were disclosed in your SEC report? The truth needs to come out. We are holding you accountable. Healthcare workers and their patients deserve better. United Health Group, let's talk about it. I'm getting message after message from your employees. One mom had to fight just to get legally protected lactation breaks after maternity leave. Another employee taking 150 calls a day while others only had to take 10 because of favoritism, promotions being blocked, transfers denied, people being silenced, and Amedisys. 2 weeks of maternity leave? 2 weeks? While your executives pocket millions? This is disgusting. And let's be real. What is it I'm hearing about the claims? Employees are talking about denials, backlogs, and even possible fraud with reimbursements. If that's true, it's not just unethical, it's illegal. United Health Group, Amedisys, Optum, the world is watching, and your silence is not going to save you. Amedisys, let's call it out directly. First, let's talk about the VP of Legal, Tom Whitworth. You don't just have a corporate role, you also have a professional duty as an attorney. That means transparency, accountability, and truth are not optional, they're required. Yet, instead of addressing these retaliation complaints, EEOC charges, and the stories flooding in from your employees, you chose silence. Worse than silence, you chose to hide. When I tagged you on LinkedIn demanding accountability, what did you do? You untagged yourself. And then you went further and you blocked me. But not just me, every other person who has reshared my posts. That's not leadership, that is avoidance. And that is corporate rot at the top. Meanwhile, employees are messaging me every single day. Stories of retaliation, silencing, being denied accommodations, mysteriously losing promotions, or being terminated after speaking up, like myself. Those are not one-offs, those are patterns. And instead of fixing them, you are covering them up. Let's not forget, my own pay stubs were modified without explanation. My retaliation complaint was pushed aside. I was terminated the day before quarter end, and the very manager I reported was promoted. And now, with employees still coming forward daily, your legal office hasn't disclosed any of it to the SEC. Investors are not being told the truth. To the VP of Legal, Tom Whitworth, you don't get to hide behind a block button. You don't get to silence the conversation. You have a duty as an executive and as an attorney, and right now you are failing that duty. Blocking me won't stop the truth from coming out. Blocking me won't stop employees from telling their stories, and blocking me won't stop the public, the media, the regulators from paying attention. You can keep running from accountability, or you can step up and do your job. The choice is yours, but let me be clear. The truth will not be blocked. Yes, I'm in my bonnet. And guess what? I don't care, because this isn't about me. This is about the truth. United Health Group, Optum, Amedisys. Your employees are messaging me nonstop about retaliation, ADA violations, and being silenced. And yet your C-suite is pulling in millions. Yet your staff and your patients are drowning. Do fucking better. TikTok, I need you. Flood their pages. United Health Group, Amedisys, Optum. Ask them, what are you hiding? Actually, I don't even care what you flood their comments with, but flood their comments, because at this point, this is ridiculous. They don't want to answer us directly, but they can't ignore us all publicly. Please do your thing, TikTok. It's now Monday. Still silence from Amedisys, United Health Group, and Optum, but not too silent to view my profile. Not too silent for the VPs to block me. Tom Whitworth at Amedisys. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the retaliation, the ADA violations, the claim manipulation, the maternity discrimination, the call center abuse. You are a billion-dollar corporation with billion-dollar executives, yet you treat the workers who keep your empire running like they're disposable. No protections, no accountability, no humanity. TikTok, I need your help. Tag the major news outlets, tag journalists, tag the media, tag reporters. Repost this. We need to keep the pressure on. And Amedisys, United Health Group, Optum. Please, we don't want to hear. We're taking all your concerns seriously. We don't want a press release. We want accountability. Show us how you're going to fix this. Kristen Banks, the very manager who retaliated against me at Amedisys, who is currently under my EEOC investigation, is now on my TikTok liking my posts about retaliation. This isn't accountability, it's surveillance. This is exactly the corporate culture problems that I've been talking about. First, the VP of Amedisys blocks me, Tom Whitworth. Now the very manager who retaliated against me, Kristen Banks, is now on my TikTok. So what is really going on, Amedisys? TikTok, we did it! A major news outlet reached out to me, and they're going to cover the story on United Health Group, Amedisys, and Optum. But they did advise me that when one reporter covers a story, more likely to. So, NPR, ProPublica, the New York Times, Washington Post. Let's tag them all, you guys. I can't tell you which big company it is, but I can say the story is getting out there. Thank God. I am no longer just an employee. I am now the public voice of every worker who has been silenced at Amedisys, United Health Group, and Optum. Every regulator, journalist, and investor is now watching, and I'm proud to say that multiple news organizations have now reached out to me. You guys thought you could silence us. You were wrong. I'm actively looking into a class action lawsuit. So if you are a current or former Amedisys, United Health Group, or Optum employee, and you've experienced retaliation, discrimination, or wrongful treatment, please DM me. I am documenting everything, and if you give me permission and provide proof of documentation, I can share your story publicly. This is bigger than me now. This is us, and together they cannot hide what they've done. Follow me, keep sharing, and keep sending in your stories. We are not done. Good morning, TikTok. I wanted to update all of you. First, I want to say thank you. The outpouring of messages from current and former Amedisys, Optum, and United Health Group employees has been overwhelming and powerful. Your story matters. Today, I want to let you all know exactly what I'm doing with the information that you shared with me. Number 1, I'm organizing every story into a master evidence document. I'm compiling every submission into one centralized document for legal review. This will allow attorneys to easily assess the patterns of retaliation, harassment, and compliance violations across the company. 2, I'm creating a redacted evidence folder for journalists. I'm preparing a redacted folder of screenshots, emails, and documentation that I've received, removing all names and patient identifiers so media outlets can see the truth for themselves. Some of what's been shared is absolutely shocking, and the only way the world will understand the depth of what's happening is to let the evidence speak for itself. Please continue to send in your stories and documentation, especially anything with timestamps, screenshots, or internal communications. If you give me permission and you've included documentation, I may include your redacted story in the folder I'm sending to the press. I'll be replying to each message individually to confirm details and ask follow-ups if needed. I'm working through them. There are a lot of them, so please be patient with me. This is no longer just about me. This is no longer just about one whistleblower. This is about exposing the truth and protecting every employee who thought they were alone. Thank you. The public deserves to know what's happening inside of United Health Group, Amedisys, and Optum. Employees across the country are alleging 3 things: widespread retaliation against those who speak up, systemic fraud and abuse in the way patients and employees are treated, a toxic corporate culture designed to silence and intimidate workers. And now I'm hearing from employees directly. Current and former staff are asking about the arbitration agreements and class action addendums they were forced to sign when they started working there. Let me reassure you, you are legally protected to share your own lived experiences. As long as you are not disclosing patient details or another employee's private information, you are within your rights. Your identity can remain completely anonymous if you choose. What matters is that your story is heard and that the truth comes out. DM me, share, follow for more. Thank you. Good morning, Amedisys, United Health Group, and Optum current and former employees. This is our moment. I wanted to give you all a quick update. As of this morning, the sheer volume of DMs, emails, document submissions is beyond anything that I have ever expected. So because of that, I've officially implemented an internal admin team. They're helping me with managed intake tracking and organizing every piece of evidence for legal and media review. Every document is now being logged, labeled, and timestamped and securely tracked to ensure nothing falls through the cracks. You may start seeing replies from my admin team, but they'll only respond using my account. You will not be contacted from any other accounts. We're currently preparing evidence packages for legal teams and press outlets, and trust me, some of the submissions are absolutely vile. Please keep sharing your stories through DM. I can't carry this truth alone, but together we are forcing visibility. Media, we're organizing and documenting every single thing. I'm not stopping until every voice is heard. Thank you. Alrighty, TikTok, here's our second update of the day. Current and former employees of United Health Group, Amedisys, and Optum, we are taking this fight also to the federal government. So let me tell you about the Tunney Act. When two companies try to merge, like United Health Group and Amedisys and Optum, the Tunney Act gives the public the right to speak up before it's approved. So we're going to use the law to submit formal comments to the courts saying this merger isn't safe, retaliation is happening, and patient safety is at risk. So, if you've witnessed fraud, been retaliated against, or just want to voice your concerns about this merger, please DM me. All submissions will be redacted for safety. This is real. This is going to the Department of Justice and the courts. We're submitting together under the law and in the public interest. The Tunney Act is just another powerful tool we're going to use to make our voices heard. Thank you. Hey everyone, I wanted to take a minute to say something directly and transparently. Kristen Bangs, the former manager named in my EEOC complaint, recently launched a GoFundMe for her stage 2 breast cancer treatment. And I want to be clear and I want to touch on this. I do not wish illness on anyone, not even her. But I also need to say this. A cancer diagnosis doesn't erase the harm that was done. It doesn't undo the retaliation. It doesn't unterminate me. For months, I was micromanaged, watched, pressured, and ultimately pushed out. I cried in front of my kids. I lost my hair. I broke out. I lost my income. I lost my peace. And if this video makes anyone feel uncomfortable, imagine how comfortable it was for me to live it. So while I do have compassion, I still deserve justice. And so do the hundreds of other employees speaking up. This isn't just about one person, it's about a system. And because someone is now facing their own battle, doesn't mean the damage they helped cause is erased. We can hold two truths at the same time, empathy and accountability. But I will not be guilted into silence, not now and not ever. Thank you. Good morning, TikTok again. This isn't even like me, okay? But I need to rant. I need to scream. I am so frustrated. I have to stay on script because I need to make sure this is legally safe, okay? Hundreds of thousands of employees have come forward reporting retaliation, discrimination, and misconduct. And how do you respond? With fucking silence! It's bullshit. It's disgusting. And let me be clear. This isn't defamation. These are facts. These are lived-in experiences. I'm a mother of 2. And as you can see, this situation hasn't just affected me. It has destroyed my peace. I am on workers' comp because of what these companies have done to me. And still, no apology, no accountability, no empathy. Help me get this story to the media, TikTok, please. Good morning, TikTok. Let's get straight into it. My name is Sheqoia, and I was retaliated against as an employee of Amedisys, who is now trying to merge with United Health Group and Optum. Employees from Amedisys, Optum, and United Health Group are coming forward, and I'm sharing their stories. Here's the first one. I was a nurse at Amedisys. A patient died because we weren't staffed or supported properly. I reported it, and within weeks, I started getting written up for minor things. They pushed me out not long after. Another one. Some patients were labeled white glove. They always got priority care. Others were left waiting for days for basic services. It was all about who complained the loudest or who had family in power. And here's another one. Start of care visits were delayed on purpose to manipulate the reporting window. Patients didn't get care for days. Sometimes they were even sent to the ER because no one had checked on them. These are real people and these are real patients. TikTok, do your thing. Make this go viral. Employees and patients are speaking out and the stories are devastating. I need the media to pay attention to what's happening inside United Health Group, Amedisys, and Optum. 4 themes keep popping up over and over again in the stories that I'm receiving. Death, fraud, retaliation, and patient harm. One of the hardest to read was from a patient who cried on the phone saying, I have to choose between eating or my medicine. This is bigger than one person's story. These are lives being destroyed. United Health Group, Amedisys, Optum. What is your response? Tag the media, tag investigators. These voices need to be heard. Follow along for more. Good morning, TikTok. Let's get straight into it. Still no response from Amedisys, nothing from Optum, and nothing from United Health Group. So until they do respond, we're going to keep exposing the stories that they're trying to bury. A former Optum employee shared, "We were financially rewarded for keeping the patients out of the hospital, even when those patients clearly needed care. The pressure was real. I left because the wait started to make me physically sick." A former Amedisys employee says, "We were pushed to input diagnosis codes that would help the claim go through, not necessarily the ones that applied to the patient. It was all about what would get paid. Accuracy wasn't the priority, reimbursement was." And from United Health Group, "We were expected to take multiple chats at the same time with no room to breathe. No support, just constant pressure. People were crying, quitting, and breaking down. They didn't care. All they cared about was productivity. It felt like psychological abuse." These are the stories coming out of United Health Group, Amedisys, and Optum. If leadership continues to stay silent, we will continue to speak. Tag and share. Thank you. These stories are coming from inside Amedisys, United Health Group, and Optum. We are going to keep posting them until they respond. If you are watching this, tag the media. They want silence, but we are giving them receipts. One employee testimonial, "We flagged the patient's rapid decline in the chart. The nurse escalated it, first to the team lead, then to the regional director. Everyone knew. They begged leadership to approve care. That request sat unanswered for 3 days. On the 4th day, the patient died. This wasn't a glitch. This was documented escalation that leadership ignored." According to the employee, emails were sent, follow-ups were made, still no care approved in time. The nurse who spoke up, written up for being too emotional. She left the company a few weeks later. This is what happens when profits matter more than people. This is what's happening inside of Amedisys, United Health Group, and Optum. We are not going away. We'll keep posting until you're forced to answer. Tag the media. These are employee testimonials, allegations only. Thank you. Good morning, TikTok. Let's get straight into it. United Health Group, Amedisys, and Optum employees are speaking out. I'm going to share 2 devastating stories that have been shared with me. A supervisor said they were instructed to falsely validate chronic conditions as part of the CCV process. That means deliberately putting information in that isn't true. Another employee discovered the metric system is rigged against Spanish-speaking patients. Every call with an interpreter was counted as multiple interactions and scored unfairly because the software doesn't even understand Spanish. That means bilingual staff and their patients were set up to fail. These are not isolated stories. This is a pattern: fraud, discrimination, patient harm. This is United Health Group. This is Amedisys. This is Optum. What is your response? Tag the media. Good morning again. I wasn't planning to post another video today, but this one can't wait. This one came from the C-suite level inside one of the companies, Amedisys, United Health Group, or Optum. I'm not going to disclose which company specifically because the person who shared this with me is still working there and wants to remain anonymous. However, they described was a culture of retaliation at the highest levels of leadership. Employees who speak up are silenced, pushed out, and written up until they quit. And instead of fixing the problems, leadership covers them up. This isn't just frontline workers sounding the alarm. This is coming from the top. United Health Group, Amedisys, Optum. What is your response? Tag the media, tag investigators. These stories need to be heard. With thousands of employees speaking up, VP level, C-suite leaders confirming everything, Amedisys, United Health Group, and Optum still chose to 1, ignore it, 2, push forward with their merger, and 3, post on social media like nothing's happening. No, this isn't going away. Every day that they stay silent, we will get louder. The media will get louder. Regulators will get louder. And soon, there will be nothing left to hide. Because you can't ignore the very employees who are holding up the very company. And you can't ignore what employees are reporting. Patients left without the care they need. patients dying. That is the cost of silence. Every day that they stay quiet, we will get louder. And the louder we get, the harder it becomes to hide. Amedisys, United Health Group, Optum, what is your response? If you're watching this, I'm going to show you how to see the cover-up for yourself, straight from the government's website. So you're going to go to Google. You're going to search Amedisys SEC filings. Click the link that leads to the sec.gov. That's the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commissioner's website. Step 1, you're going to open one of these forms, either the 10K. This is the yearly report. Think the big picture, major risks, lawsuits, financial health. The 10K, this is the quarterly report, a check-in on any new risk or legal issues. Or the 8K. This one reports major events like layoffs, lawsuits, executive changes, merger and acquisition news. Now I want to tell you what to look for. You're going to scroll down all the way to risk factors, legal proceedings, management's discussion. That's where they're legally required to talk about the things that might affect their business, like federal investigations, retaliation complaints, or pending litigation. Now here's the red flag. I personally filed a EEOC retaliation charge. So did other employees. Testimonies of fraud and discrimination are coming in weekly. They just merged in a $3.3 billion deal with United Health, but none of this was disclosed. No mention of retaliation, EEOC complaints, federal probes, terminations, whistleblower risks. What should be there at minimum? Certain employees have filed complaints or EEOC charges, or we may face reputational or regulatory risk. But instead, silence. This silence isn't just shady. It could be material non-disclosure, and that's serious. That's SEC level serious. So United Health Group, Amedisys, Optum, what are you hiding? Tag the media, tag the SEC, tag the DOJ. Good morning, TikTok. It is now Wednesday, September 3rd. And so far, Amedisys, United Health Group, and Optum have not responded to the growing number of employees speaking out. Now, some employees who have spoken out are even reporting that they are losing access to their systems entirely. And here's why United Health Group is now directly responsible because of the merger. You now own Amedisys. That means the obligation and accountabilities are now yours. I want to share 3 more stories about what's really happening inside of your companies. A worker at United Health Group reported being retaliated against after speaking up. They said they were written up multiple times. HR dismissed their complaints, and they ultimately resigned. Another employee who has worked for Optum for 5 years admitted that they want to share their story, but are too afraid. Their words were, "They are truly an evil company. I know I'll lose my job if I speak out." And others are staying silent because they've seen exactly what happens when people dare to speak. Retaliation has now become the default response. Now let's talk about the patients. At Amedisys, system outages are delaying referrals and intake processing. That means care plans aren't being started on time. Sometimes treatment is delayed altogether. These aren't just glitches. These are real people waiting for care. Let's be very clear. You are aware that patients are dying, and you are continuing to ignore us. Employees are being retaliated against. Careers are being destroyed, and you are continuing to ignore us. That silence isn't an accident. It's a strategy, and that strategy is killing trust, it's destroying employees, and it's putting patients at risk. And here's how it's impacted me personally. I've lost a job opportunity because another employer didn't want to take on a whistleblower. They told me the legal risk was too high. So now, not only was I retaliated against for speaking up, but I'm still paying the price by being shut out of opportunities. So I'll ask directly, United Health Group, what are you going to do to fix this? We don't need generic PR statements. We don't need vague words about commitment. We need proof. We need audits. We need documents. We need public commitments under oath. Anything less is a spin. Even though I am here advocating for us, I want to be clear. Amedisys, Optum, United Health Group, you are 100% free to reach out to me, and I am open to communicating with you. But the longer that you stay silent, as I have said every single day, I will continue to post. I will continue to bring these stories to life because this is not right and this is not fair. These are real people, the very people holding up your company, and the way you are treating them is absolutely unacceptable. Tag the media. Thank you. This is United Health Group and Optum. You sent in your PR to watch my page. You've sent senior level data analysts to interpret my engagement. You're clearly in crisis containment mode, and I know that you're watching, and I know that you're nervous. You're analyzing the numbers, the growth, the sentiment, trying to predict my next move. But what you still haven't figured out is this. You're one post away from this going viral, and I'm not stopping. I'll keep posting. I'll keep organizing. Because what's happening here is bigger than me. It's about your employees. It's about your patients. It's about the fraud, the retaliation, the cover-ups, and your choice to stay silent. A class action is now on the table. Employees from United Health Group, Amedisys, and Optum are coming forward daily. You've seen the reporters from Bloomberg, MarketWatch, ProPublica, the New York Times following me. You thought I was going to stay silent. You thought I'd just go away. You should never underestimate a woman, never underestimate a mother, and never underestimate a woman with receipts. I told you, I don't need millions of followers. All I needed was for the employees you harmed to start reaching out, and they did, loudly. But here's the part that should really scare you. You don't even realize the leak is in the room with you. The person funneling me all the information, the truth, sits in your C-suite. And you have no idea who it is. There's no digital trail. There's no connection. Just clean, consistent information to me. So while you're still scrambling to try to control this narrative, we all already know how this story is going to end. You made your choice, silence, and I've made mine, exposure. Tag the media.